'cause you have friends. Don't give up, you're not the only one. Don't give up, no reason to be ashamed. Don't give up, you still have us. Don't give up now, we're proud it's never been easy. Don't give up, 'cause I believe there's a place where we belong.
Good morning, everybody. I'm John Self. Welcome to Career Live. Thanks for joining us. Today, we're going to talk about habits to help you accelerate your search. I'm delighted you're with us. I hope that you'll tell your friends about this and help us build a strong, vibrant community here at Your Career Community at johnself.com. Thanks so much again for joining us. So let's get busy and talk about some important things. Earlier, I was talking about when you've been in the search business and you've been in an industry for a long time, you've kind of experienced it all. And so when you're looking for a job or you're contemplating trying to change your career trajectory, it's really challenging. And I've been there. I've seen people struggle to find a job. I've seen people scared to death that they weren't going to be able to pay the bills and take care of their family. And later in my career, as I was a recruiter, I watched people struggle mightily. Even in the old days when it was pretty much still a human process, people struggle and they get frustrated because the search process never works as fast as they want it to. And there's a lot of disappointment. I mean, even before we had automation flooding the system with all these, profiles from LinkedIn, the odds weren't very good. They were maybe 16-1 or 20-1. I've had people yell at me, curse at me, question my mother's heritage. I've seen executives utter breakdown and cry and utter frustration. I've seen talented people refuse to change and then fade away. So let's talk about essential habits for a job search. And we're talking about this because, quite frankly, a lot of people think that career management is just about job searching. And that's not true. As a matter of fact, if that's the approach you're taking, I guarantee you can add 6 to 8 months in a new automated environment if that's the role you want to take. Because if you don't have people, if you don't have a team of people helping you get introduced and you're having to depend on the computer, that is a bone-crushing load of rejection because the odds will be so amazing because these computers can generate a lot more qualified candidates than human recruiters could ever guarantee. So, hello, as we get started, I want to say hello to Kathleen Forbes. Dr. Forbes, great to have you, and Peter Piccinini up in New Jersey. It's great to have you. So remember this, career management is not looking for a new job. It's how you manage your professional life. And so we really want to talk today about some of the habits. Now, the other thing we talk about is everybody said, well, I'm just not motivated to change. I'm not motivated to get a new job. Motivation won't find you a job even if you took motivation pills and were 4+ on fire from motivation. Motivation is simply a tool. It's a starter tool to help you build new habits. And habits, when you start talking about finding a job, it's important to have these new habits. First of all, we've talked about this before, but for people who are joining us for the first time, I'm somebody who believes that automation and industry consolidation, whether it's in healthcare, retail, publishing, communications, they're extending the job search cycle, probably in some cases 4 to 6, maybe 8 months. And that's a long time, especially with companies cutting their severance programs. High-powered applicant sourcing programs that I just referred to, they automatically scan thousands of LinkedIn profiles and can add those profiles into the search process. You're now competing not with 20 or 30 people who found the job, or recruiters who actually got off their butts and hired some people or found some people. You're competing with everybody that the computers found. So that may be hundreds, it may be thousands. And so this really changes the paradigm. Boy, if you don't see that, please call me. We'll get you some help. And so what's happening here let's talk about it in real terms. The odds against you are ballooning. With normal AI, they were about 150 to 1. In some cases, they're up to 450, 500 to 1. But hell, after 100 to 1, I guess it's all just a matter of just a number. The chances of a job finding you, that's very slim, very, very slim. It happens only when a recruiter calls you, and a recruiter calls you only because they've been able to find you, source you, because you have a visible profile, you have a reputation that's not just among people, it's out there for people to see. So your future, unless your name is a household word in the industry and your track record, you can say, well, I've done a really good job. I've had 3 jobs, I've done a really great job. That's not going to be enough. So you have to understand, you have to tell people about what you've done. You have to beat your chest a little bit and brag a little bit. And I know you weren't brought up to do that, but that's the way of the world today. Please, please don't let that sort of false thing that you say, oh, my parents told me I couldn't do that, or that was not really cool. Don't let that stand in the way and push you. You refuse to change and fade away. Everybody that I'm talking to and that I'm working with and I'm trying to get into this network, they're all extremely talented people. They're extremely talented people, but if they don't adapt, they will not survive. No network, that means more work. And that's one of the things that people in job searches just really hate to do. They hate to get on the phone and talk to people they really don't know, or try to talk to people they don't know because they're afraid of rejection. Well, what that means, if you don't have a network today, that means you're starting to try to buy a house with no equity and not a down payment. That's what it means. So don't allow yourself to be put in that situation. The skills that you had and you use successfully with your job are not necessarily going to be the skills that help you find a job. You must take specific search action steps each day, each week, and we're going to talk about those today. If you do not have a network, please, you may go through 2 or 3 more jobs before you retire. If you're in your 30s or 40s, you're going to go through 5 to 10. Build a network. Every time you have, and when you change job, it'll make the job change a lot more expeditious. Now, in the Great Resignation during the pandemic, when there was when the employment numbers were upside down and there were more jobs than there were people looking, everybody thought, well, this is really easy. I don't really have to worry. I've changed throughout job 3 times in 16 months, and I didn't have a problem, and I always got more money. That was then, this is now. And what got you through that will not get you going through what's going to happen to you going forward. The job market now is balanced out. The pandemic is over. The Great Resignation is over. The upside job markets. There's still more jobs than there are people, according to the numbers. But, as my friend Peter says, those numbers are bogus. A lot of those jobs that are up there that they're counting are not really being actively recruited. And so, the job, especially at the management and executive level, is a lot more competitive. Looking for a full-time job is a full-time job, and you have to act like it, okay? So a lot of people really they say, oh, I'm so stressed. Well, the definition of stress is when your mind overrides your desire to beat the living, out of somebody and that richly deserves it. But your mind says, nope, you can't do that. That's stress. And a lot of people want to beat up the recruiting system, the recruiter, or anybody else. If they could find the machine, they'd take a baseball bat to it. Well, that's not going to help you find a job. And that stress is not going to do anything for you, but just increase your frustration. Also, number 2, make a deal with your family, your friends. If you're going to whine about networking, then you forfeit your right to whine about how long the search is taking, because it will take longer. Now, the final thing I want to say is get organized, acquire the tools you need to be organized, and then execute your job search plan. If you go into business, we all have plans, and those plans get sometimes turned upside down. But the truth is, you have to execute. And so you got to quit whining about all the bad things, because there are plenty of them. There are plenty of them. And you've got to get yourself organized and get after it. Now, there is an elephant in the room, okay? Automation benefits the employer. It doesn't benefit you. Automation is here to stay. Computers are going to be making decisions regarding your career if you allow that to happen. Do you want the computers to decide where you go in the future? No. And the only way you could do that is have people help you. Now, if you continue with online submissions, that's only going to become more automated, and more of the process is going to be done by computers. Is that what you want? Or would you rather have somebody take you through the side door and introduce you to the hiring manager, or introduce you to the CEO? I mean, that's the best way to do it, but that takes time. You can't wait till you're losing your job, or you can't wait till you hear about layoffs, or you can't wait till you're on the street to start building your network. That's silly, stupid. It doesn't work that way. You've got to form new career management habits to avoid this increasingly disruptive process. And and it's cool, it's interesting, it's sexy. They're doing wild things. They're going to save a lot of money. They're going to speed up the process, but it's still going to be unfair to you, and you're going to be at a major, major disadvantage. So you must create new career management habits if you hope to be able to survive all this. Now, this is your choice. You got a choice here. Okay, you can create a written career plan and execute it, and include your spouse or your partner in the process. A lot of people, they get married and I do this or that, and no, we don't talk about it. But now the markets are changing. Automation is changing. A lot of jobs are going to be eliminated. They're going to change over time. They're not going to be needed. And so more and more people will be moving around the country. So you need to get your spouse involved in this. Secondly, you got to hold yourself accountable for your plan. You've got your plan, and then you've got to live with what the company wants you to do every year. You've got your performance goals at work, but you've got to have your career performance goals at home. And you've got to share those with your spouse or your partner, and you got to hold yourself accountable. And then your network has to be aligned with your goal. A lot of people don't network because they can't figure it out. Why? Because they don't know where they're going. They're just waiting for the next job. They're waiting for somebody to find them. And so their networking is sort of, if they do it at all, it's just crazy. It's crud. Okay, it's all over the place, and it's not aligned with their plan. It's not designed to help them get to that goal. We are moving into a goal-oriented society. If you don't have a goal, you are going to get run over by the unwashed masses. Don't let that happen to you. You've worked hard in your life to build your degree, your profession. You've got credentials. Don't let that happen to you, please. Okay, you have to really have a branding approach. This is not just talking about your brand. You've got to use the new tools to support your plan. Okay, that's a pretty important fact now. And something else you got to do. You got to follow the Mel Robbins rule. I don't know if you know her. She's a dynamic speaker, and I love her to death. If you have the instinct to do something, to act on a goal, then you have to do it. You have to start. If you don't get up and get moving, your brain will kill it. People don't like networking. They think, well, I got to start networking, and they don't move, they don't act, and the brain kills it off, and they don't do it. Oh, I didn't get around to that today. Damn, that's nuts. This is going to be absolutely the key to your success. You can't have that attitude about, oh, just didn't get to it today, or don't really like it, hadn't had to use it in the past. Everything will be okay. If you're not moving within 5 seconds, it's going to kill it off. The moment you feel an instinct or a desire to act on a goal or commitment, use the 5-second rule. It helps me. Now, a lot of people get frustrated during the search, and I understand that. Gosh knows I got frustrated doing searches. But so people will tend to sort of like play golf and fish or tennis, and they start doing a lot because there's so many things about finding a job that they don't like. There's a lot of rejection, and they don't feel good about themselves. And so they take some mental health days, and okay, that's fine. But 4 mental health days in a 7-day week is not fine. And you will not find a job doing that, because recruiters are not going to know how to reach you in your bass boat, on the tennis court, or on the golf course. Okay, the job search you're doing now, the career work you're doing now is so consequential for the rest of your life. You must invest the time. Okay, you have to establish the routines for yourself and boundaries for your spouse, your family, so that you can work everything into your daily schedule that you need to do. That's critical. I don't have time to network. That's a common cop-out. It's a lame BS excuse for somebody who doesn't like doing it. You could get away with that in the 60s, 70s, and the 80s, maybe the 90s, early 2000s. You can't get away with it now. So knock it off, okay? Sorry for the plain talk, but that is absolutely the truth. You've got to start networking and build a network. You also want to keep it in a journal, and there's no excuses here, no exceptions here. Why do you keep a journal? Well, you want to keep a track of the people you're meeting because, oh, I met this interesting person, can't remember their name, or oh, there was somebody in New York that I talked to, or St. Louis, kind of interesting. I forgot. You got to keep all of that down because that's valuable information. The person that you kind of offhandedly spoke to may turn out to be the person that is instrumental in helping you move your career forward. So the journal is helpful to keep those names and then transfer them to a database. But it is also a great way, okay, to connect between what you did, what you said you did, and then what you told yourself you did, okay? Oh, I did all that. No, we at the end of the day, we'll say, yeah, I had a pretty good day. I did a little networking, this and that. And then, okay, look at your log. What did you do? Did you do the networking you needed to do? Oh, I just didn't get to that. I didn't do as much as I thought. Your journal is a way to hold yourself accountable. Okay, a typical day, you've got to review industry news. You got to look for content for repost and ideas for organic material, organic network material for LinkedIn and your career network. You got to check your emails for your job search email 3 to 4 times a day. Respond, but do not overkill. Kind of tease them a little bit. You're selling yourself. Make them want more, okay? You got to identify short-term networking calls, the ones you need to make this today and this week. And you also then need to look downstream to look for networking calls that you need to make in the future. What other people that will help you in the future? Because although you're in a job search now, if your goal is to move up to be a CEO or you've got to be looking ahead. And you have to identify future networking calls when you're going to do those. You have to practice your value brand statement and commonly asked questions. You should get some index cards and write down the commonly asked questions. If you'd like a list, if you've forgot your mock interview or would like to do another mock interview, if you're a member of our community network, we'll schedule one for you. One is probably not enough, but we'll give you commonly asked questions, and then you need to practice those, okay? And you need to look at the job boards. Now, they are not the best way to find a job, but occasionally, a diamond will show up in the rough. Okay, you cannot violate this rule. And this is something every day you're going to submit an application online, you have to do this, period, no exceptions, okay? You cannot submit a resume, whether online or to a recruiter, without first reviewing the job summary and identifying the keywords and phrases, and then incorporating them throughout the resume. Okay, that's really, really important. We have a file. If you're a member of our career group, you get that for free, okay? And it's $49. The membership is $49 a month, and you get unlimited access to all of our resources, including discounts on face-to-face coaching, a one-on-one. And it's real easy to do. Just go to our website, click the button, and it'll take you to the page, and you can sign up. You can sign up today and start getting your career moving in the right direction. Now, there are no exceptions on this resume rule. You have to do the work or you will not advance forward, even if you're submitting it to a recruiter. I can't tell you how many times I looked at generic resumes that the person had great experience, but it didn't connect it to what I was looking for. And when you've got 30 or 40 resumes out there, and you're going to be excited by the resumes that connect with your job. So you still have to do that. You should have always been doing that, but now the computer makes us do that. Okay, no exceptions. It's not human. The process, if you're going to apply online, is not human. The machines don't give a damn. Okay, remember that. Data mine contacts and connections from industry newsletters and on LinkedIn. You got to look for that every day. Now, if they're off in San Diego, California, and that's not on your radar screen, you don't want to live there, you're not even going to target that as an area, that's not where your goal is centered, then don't invest time with those people. Okay, align your networking and your career plan and your daily activities. Okay, they've got to pull together. You have to update your database. You don't have one, you got to get one. So you need to update your database daily. Don't wait 2 or 3 weeks because then it becomes a big problem. Do it daily. Okay, create follow-up alerts for yourself. There are a lot of free ones out there. They have a lot of great features. Figure out how you work. Okay. It's sort of like a journal. Some of these journals come out and they're all pre-printed and they tell you got to do this and this and this. And if your brain's not organized that way, it doesn't think that way, then it's kind of a waste of time. So look for a database that kind of is organized, the architecture, kind of lines up with how you think. Okay. Every day you want to create alerts to things you need to do. Send out happy birthday messages using DM on paperless posts. If you really want to make an insight, you have their email address. You want to check on these things daily. You want to send notes to connections who celebrated a work anniversary or other recognition. You're looking for people in your targeted area, people within the targeted companies. You are looking for ways to connect with those people, and you can't do it on the golf course. You can't do it playing tennis, and you can't do it watching a football game at the local tavern. You've got to put the time in to move forward. It's a lot of work. It is absolutely a lot of work, but once you get the system down, it becomes automatic. It becomes a habit, and it's not a big part of your life. The excuse of I just didn't have time is just a lame excuse. It's an excuse that will lead you to the sidelines. Don't do it. Now, if you do not have a career plan today, you will fail to achieve what you were intended to accomplish. I really do. I really honestly believe that. I think we've moved so far with the technology. AI is going to take us big leaps forward, and some of them are not going to be necessarily the best thing that can happen to us. Your future, whether you're 30 years old or 50 and want to change careers, or you're looking for the last one or two jobs, your network, the people you know, the people who will help you, the people who care about you, the people you've taken the time to invest and build a relationship with, that's what's going to make the difference for you. Okay? You've got to build a network that's aligned with your plan. So you've got to do the plan. Okay. If you don't have the written plan, you're making a mistake. You would not run a big health system, a financial services company, a new startup without a plan. Okay. Yes, the plan changes. Gosh, it is a little bit of work. I mean, my plan's been blown up 3 times here. My business is changing so fast. You need to find the relationships that are going to help you set your goal. And you need to invest time every day actively managing your brand. Online, in person, and in your life. Okay, this is really important. Why? Let me just use this example. One of the common things is people go around and go, I'm a servant leader. Okay, let me tell you something. If you have to tell people you're a servant leader, you're probably not. If you're a servant leader, it should show up in the way you act. It should show up in the way you communicate with people. It should show up in your community activities. And if you're trying to make a job change within a certain community, and nobody knows who you are, well, you're not managing your brand. Okay. Let me close off by saying this. There's a lot that's changing. It's changing for me. It's frustrating for me. I know it's frustrating for you. I'm having to really work hard, and some days I don't feel I'm up, keeping up with it, but I'm working hard to try to understand the changes and what products or services I can deliver to help you or to help other people. But the truth is, when it gets down to it, it's not me, it's you. No one is coming. I have to figure this out. It's all up to me to figure out how my company is going to change to be more accessible and to get a bigger following. It's up to me. It's up to you to change your career. It's up to you to get off your tail and do the things that you know you need to do to move forward. Talking about it is not change. That's just a waste of time. You are really one decision away from a completely different life if that's what you want. So I hope this information has been helpful. If you have any questions, I'm happy to take those now. If you're a member of our community, we're having a roundtable this afternoon at 4:00. The information is in the community section of johngself.com. Just click the red button on the side and sign in. And so we'll have a freewheeling discussion. I have things I want to ask what I can do for you, and I want to get your input on what I need to do to change, and then how together we can build a network that really helps people advance their careers, that we support career learning. We all invest time. If you're in healthcare, you go to the American College meetings and you have to be recertified. If you're a physician, you have to be recertified. And even if you're a physician who's not in clinical medicine anymore, say as a physician executive, where their colleagues expect you to continue certification. So now you have that double responsibility. My friend, I have a friend in the financial services business who I won't mention to avoid his corporate compliance eagles flying over him, but he has to go through and redo all of his licenses. And he's really good about studying and passing these online tests really quickly. But for a lot of people, it's really a challenge to be certified. So you have a lot of professional continuing education. Most people don't spend any time educating themselves about what's changing in the career. That's one of the things I would like to accomplish with this site. And so I look forward to getting your input on what I can do to do a better job and as a facilitator, and the type of people I need to bring in as speakers, the type of people we need to attract as members to add energy to the process. So it's coming up on 8 o'clock, and I know you all have busy days, so I won't keep you any longer, but I hope this has been a helpful session. Just to summarize, you need to change your habits, because you can't just say, well, I had a job and now I'm going into my office to look for a job. They're two different sets of habits. If you're struggling with it, call me. I'm happy to help you. I mean, I've seen people go through this. I kind of know what works and what doesn't work. I've touched on some of the main habits today that you have to really adopt. Being motivated is great, but all that is a tool to change your habits. If you don't change your habits and make it a routine, you will struggle with finding a search. Thank you all very much for joining me today. I hope to see you soon. Next week, we'll have on Wednesday at 11:30, we will have our rescheduled self-perspective with Mike Lieb, talking about how he's built his on-demand career executive business and how he uses his network to do that. And that's something that might be very, very instrumental, because at the end of your career, you may want to do some of that work just because you don't want to sit at home, which I identify with. So everybody, thank you all. I appreciate your feedback. I appreciate each one of you as friends, as clients, and I really do need your help in let's growing this enterprise, not just for me, but for the work we can do to help others. Thanks, everybody.